Welcome everybody to the 12 o'clock show with Mayor Joe or Harry Potter, whichever you prefer. Joining me today, because it's Halloween week after all, is Franklin County Coroner Nate Overmire. Thank you very much for coming.
Thanks so much for having me, Mayor.
I appreciate your sense of humor and putting up with all of our theatrics, but this is my favorite time of the year when it comes to this, and you know what better thing than to have the coroner on for everything. So we've got some things hopefully it'll make you feel at home. A brain in a jar, some ears. We do have the heart of it all and whatnot, so we've got everything in there.
This looks exactly like
I was saying,
office,
yeah,
so I feel very much at home.
There we go. Well, see that I'm glad we accomplished our goal. It's the rough things that we have to do in the city when we actually went to Spirit Halloween to make sure we got the theatrics right. So now everybody thinks they know what a coroner does because everybody's seen, you know, we were just talking a few minutes ago about crime shows and CSI and things like that. So what exactly does a coroner do? What do you do on a day-to-day basis?
So yes, the coroner is responsible for investigating deaths in the county. So whether that's a death that occurs suddenly, unexpectedly, by violent circumstances, that's our role and responsibility to determine the cause and manner of that death. So there's 5 manners. There's homicides, suicides, accidents, undetermined, and natural deaths. So naturally, thankfully, primary care doctors are responsible for determining the cause of death for their primary care patients if it's a natural death. The coroner is responsible for those other manners of death. And we do that through collaboration with our forensic pathologists, toxicologists, investigators, and law enforcement. That's a really important piece, is that through all this collaboration, through all of that investigation, I can make a cause, a manner of death. But Mayor Joe, it's not just science that we do, it's also service. And so we are helping families sort through their grief, helping them find peace with the death of a loved one, help them navigate this at times, very complex system. When someone dies, there's a whole lot of things that go into determining burial services and so on and so forth. And so we help families do that, and we also act sometimes as a public health advocate, identifying trends and notifying our public health partners, our community stakeholders, and making sure that we're preventing those types of deaths in our community.
So it's a really uplifting job all the time. Yeah. And that's kind of the gist out of it. So what kind of training do you have to do this? Because I know that's a question, you know, we were talking again earlier about some Reynoldsburg students that were visiting recently. So what do you have to do? So if I wake up tomorrow and say, you know what, I'm going to decide to not be mayor and I want to be coroner, what would I have to do?
So in Ohio, you have to be a physician. So you have to go to medical school.
All right, that's it. I'm out.
So I'm a physician, and I'm a proud osteopathic family physician. And so that's, we'll talk about misconceptions here in a little bit, but as a family doctor, I'm board certified in family medicine. And as an osteopathic family physician, I like to think about the whole patient. And through that holistic care, that's how I take care of my patients or the decedents here at the coroner's office. And in Ohio, we have somewhat of a hybrid system. There are 2 medical examiner systems in Cuyahoga and Summit County, but the other 86 counties, we are coroners, we're elected, but you do have to be a physician.
Okay. So what are, you know, you talk about misconceptions, and I heard a little bit of it. So what's the biggest misconception about your job that you hear on a regular basis?
So for me personally, I think most people think that I'm the one doing the dissection of the bodies. But my role as the coroner is largely, like I told you, administrative. It's a lot of public health focus, trying to prevent deaths from coming back into our community. We do, I think one of the biggest misconceptions in the community that we get is that just like in the TV show, we are asking the family to come in and identify the body through a glass screen, and that's just not how it works. Oftentimes we are identifying folks, our decedents that come to our office through scientific means, whether that's fingerprint, DNA, skeletal survey, dental records, et cetera, et cetera. And so sometimes families come to our office not expecting that, and they get really upset. So that's one of the biggest misconceptions, is that we don't need you often to come to our facility to identify your loved ones. We can do that through other scientific means. Another big misconception is this notion of next of kin. In the law, in the Ohio Revised Code, which guides everything that we do at the coroner's office, there is a next of kin hierarchy. And I wish people knew that when you are married, your spouse gets to determine everything about your death. And when you separate from your spouse, but you don't get a official divorce, they still get to
That could be awkward.
That's
That
very
could be
awkward for
awkward.
the family, and it
Yeah.
can get super tensious.
Yeah.
Like when our office is telling, mom and dad or the children, like, hey, dad still has absolute control over all decision making. That often doesn't go well when we get yelled at. So there's a next of kin hierarchy that I would encourage everyone to make sure they know, so that if the next of kin hierarchy goes down to the 3 brothers and sisters, there has to be a majority decision.
Okay.
So if there's 3 or 5, that makes the decision really easy. If there's an even number, like if there's 4,
Rock, paper, scissors?
it's 3 out of 4 have
Okay.
to come to a consensus.
Okay. That's interesting. I did not know that. I kind of had an idea of the next of kin to some extent, but I didn't know that particular detail. So I won't ask what the worst part of your job is, because I think I probably could figure that one out. But what's the best part of your job?
Well, the best part is serving our families, and that's, again, helping them navigate through this super challenging, oftentimes so difficult experience of losing a loved one. And oftentimes we get to not only help them through that grief, navigate the death process, but help them find peace, and oftentimes help them find justice. Mm-hmm. So we can often be that link to saying, yes, someone died by a homicide, the death at the hands of another, through our investigatory or autopsy process. But another amazing thing that I get to do is that I work with an amazing group of 75 people at the coroner's office, and we were talking the other day, just a moment ago, about, am I on call? Like, what happens when you're in a meeting? Thankfully, we have amazing investigators, forensic pathologists, toxicologists, other support staff who day in and day out serve the residents of Franklin County with the utmost compassion and integrity, and working with them day in and day out really gives me joy.
It's something to be said when you have a great team around you. It makes everybody's life a little bit easier, so that's always good. Now, I think the last time that we talked in general was at the new, well, at the time it felt like it was a new facility because it had just opened up. How is that going? Is that everything kind of getting used to where everything's supposed to go and whatnot?
Yeah, everything's going well from a facility standpoint. We have the top-notch sort of facilities, and as you just mentioned, we host a lot of groups at our facility to make them aware of that we're not just a morgue. Yeah, that can be a really cool part of our job, the evisceration process of seeing an autopsy, and again, providing the answers to a family of why someone died. Was there severe coronary artery disease, or was there a blockage somewhere else that we weren't expecting, and we found that was the missing link. But there's a whole host of other investigatory, toxicology things that happen in our office that can really excite young people or interested parties. And we want to make sure we are empowering and exciting the next generation of forensic pathologists and leaders within our community.
Well, it's good. I appreciate it. As a former teacher, it's always nice to be able to extend that extension into other school districts and to have that opportunity for them to actually see what it is, as opposed to just assuming that, it's CSI and I can solve a crime in an hour and you get your toxicology back within 24 hours and things like that. So those are always the things. Well, I appreciate it. Anything else going on that you want to talk about?
So I'll just segue. That was a nice segue. We just hosted Reynoldsburg High School. There was a forensic science class that we hosted, and we provided an age-appropriate tour, getting them excited about potential job opportunities. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity within the field of forensic science. There are only 600 forensic pathologists in the United States, and we need about 1,200. So there's a super amount of opportunity, not only within the field of medicine, but toxicologists, morgue technicians, all these ancillary or non-terminal degree sort of paths that are in great need. And so not only do we host your students from your high school, from Reynoldsburg High School, but we host college students throughout the country. And we've had students as far away as Texas and California, because we do host, and if you go on the website, there's 3 or 4 opportunities a year where we host sort of a workshop of interested students who they may be on the edge or teetering on wanting to do some sort of forensic science, and we will do a mock interview, a mock sort of a investigation where they
Okay.
get to not only see the autopsy, but they get to sort through a death at our office and how we would go about investigating that. So there's a lot of educational opportunities that we're trying to really engage our community, not only simply because there's this CSI effect, there's a lot of want out there to understand what really happens, but there's a need to not only educate, engage, and excite this next generation of leaders, but there's real job opportunities, especially in this economy. People want to do something that they really love, and we want to provide that opportunity.
Absolutely. I mean, we just had a visit from some third graders, and that was one of the things that we actually did talk about. Is just when you're looking, why did I want to be a mayor? Why do you want to do this? And there's a lot of jobs in the city that people don't familiarize with. They don't know that. Not a lot of people wake up and say, you know what, I want to go into urban development. But once you figure it out, and if it hits all those buttons for you, then definitely it's something that can be enjoyable.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you an incredibly calm, say, 48 hours from here, through Sunday.
Appreciate that.
Just because I can only imagine how things can be around Halloween time and just in general. So, but I do
for
appreciate
our
you coming
office. Unfortunately, the real pickup is around Thanksgiving. Unfortunately, Thanksgiving through Christmas, and the coroner's office is really busy on those 2 days. Families are going to look out for their loved ones around this time, and this is unfortunately the time where they're going to find their loved ones not in the best state, and then they come to our office. So please check on your loved ones now. And
Don't ruin
all the
Thanksgiving
time.
now. Just let's go get it taken care of now. I get it.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for
Thank you so
coming
much,
in.
Mayor.
I appreciate
For
it.
the
Thank you. You're welcome to stay, but if you have things that you have to investigate, you're on your way.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
All right, everybody.
Go crew.
I do appreciate the sense of humor that he was, he felt right at home here with everything that we've got going on. And shout out to Spirit Halloween for providing all of this stuff. Got a lot of cool things coming up. I want to talk about our next board meeting for Reynoldsburg City Schools is going to be on November 18th. It'll be the first one after next week's election. So it'll be interesting to see who does and does not get elected in this next thing. And then the rest of it will be what's going to happen. There's a lot of questions that people have to answer. Is there going to be another levy in the future? Are they going to be dealing with Hannah Ashton? Are there other items going on? So make sure you kind of keep that in mind. Talk a little bit more about that later. We do have our Reynoldsburg Police Department information as well. All of it is lost amongst everything here, but you do have the opportunity to go ahead and go to Meijer and buy a gift card, and then take that to RPD, and then they will share it at the basically Shop with a Cop event. They will take gift cards up until November 25th, so you have plenty of time. Reynoldsburg also has our Red Cross Blood Drive on November 19th at RPD. Our roads updates, I've got great news. We are on track with Wagner Road. Our storm work is being done as we speak on the east side, and so hopefully all of that stuff will get taken care of. Probably about a week or so, week and a half on that one, then they're going to start staging some of the other stuff for curbs and whatnot. And leaf collection, we have our trucks, and you may see them going out doing a little outside training over the next couple of days. So if they drive by and you have a big pile of leaves, don't be surprised if they suck up those leaves pretty quick, whether you know it or not. But they're going to come around and take a look at that before we kick things off, probably sometime mid to late next week. So that is coming. So keep that in mind. Any questions? Anything coming up?
Not yet.
All right. Our street paving on the Licking County side of things is complete. They put some striping in a couple of the courts yesterday. So those roads are getting done, which is always good. And we hope to have some big news on our 2026 street program in the not too distant future. Just kind of confirming some things with where we're at budget-wise for what we call our capital improvement plan. But we do aim to have about $3 million in street repair work next year. Our goal, for the most part, is good curbs, bad streets. The big cost for this is a lot of the curb repair, so we're going to be focusing a lot on the roads that have good curbs already and then just have bad roads, so we can go through that so we can kind of maximize our reach. With that, we only have another day to nominate someone for the Mel Clemens Community Service Award. So if you have somebody in mind, please make sure you go ahead and submit those applications. Deadline is October 30th. I do not know if this is one of those, the clock strikes at midnight and they don't accept it, or is it earlier in the day, so keep that in mind. But Parks also has a couple of other fun events coming up. We have Fused Glass on November 6th through December 4th at the Senior Center. We have beginner watercolor holiday cards, not this weekend, but in a couple weeks, on November 9th at 2 p.m. at the Senior Center. And as we mentioned the other time, Intro to Mindful Art. So it's kind of like a combination of meditation and art for art's sake. It's not like you have a standard thing you have to paint or sculpt or anything, but it's just kind of letting the moments take you so you can kind of leave your own head for a little bit. And I probably shouldn't say that with the brain on the table, but you get my drift. You get where we're going on that. Livingston House does have some nighttime tours on the 31st and November 21st again from 9 p.m. to midnight. I hope they have something spooky, scary, no, wonderful involved on October 31st, given that that is All Hallows Halloween night and all that. And I do think they're still accepting some spots for 18U basketball. I think 14U is filled up, but I think 18U is there. Bryce Park, however, is completed, so it is all there. The sign is going to be there. We should have an opening in the next 10 days or so officially. We'll figure that one out. We're hoping to get some picnic tables in next week, and then we'll make our announcement on that one. But if you don't want to wait or don't want to deal with the pomp and circumstance of ribbon cuttings and whatnot, you can go out there as soon as you want, before it rains, of course, and take a walk around and see what that's all about. But I'm very excited about it because, again, that's a long-standing project that we've been got going on, and finally it's all taken care of. And now everybody's favorite topic for trick-or-treat night. So there are a lot of reasons why trick-or-treat is designed the way that it is done. So many, many, many years ago in the early 1980s, Central Ohio, under the group called MORPC, the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission, all came together and decided to pick one specific day for trick-or-treat night. And it's always going to be a Monday through Thursday, no Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, and it's always going to be that way, even if the 31st is a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And part of it is because there's some consistency that everybody knows, even though sometimes when I look on social media, not everybody knows. But the other more important part from our side is this. Scheduling for our police department is done in advance, and we always make sure that we schedule more officers, specifically in the roads, to get into the neighborhoods, so that way we keep an eye on speeders with all the kids going out for trick-or-treating. And unfortunately, I don't have control over the weather, and if we were to alter it from one day to the next, it becomes a lot more difficult and challenging, where we might not have as many officers available. So that's why tomorrow night from 6 to 8 p.m. it will be rain or shine. So we will see how the weather unfolds. We know it's Ohio, so even though it says rain, who knows what's going to happen, in all honesty. It could be anything else. But that's where we're at for that one. When you're done with that, on Friday or Saturday morning, you can actually join the Super Braxton 5K, which is always a good, exciting time. That'll be at the Summit campus. Kids run at 9 o'clock, and everybody else runs about 9:30 or so. Any questions, comments, anything like that?
No.
No comments about brains or the heart or anything? Okay. All right. Celebrate USA 250 is going to be here. Believe it or not, it's October, and it's almost going to be November, and before you know it, it's going to be the 4th of July all over again. So we had some conversations with our pyrotechnic office and all of that, and we had some good talks about having a bigger, bolder kind of finale situation. So that'll be in there. So we're getting that all budgeted out, and it's going to be a great time all the way across. So next couple of things, just want to throw out a few things. There's been some conversations on social media about what is or what is not public record, what can be deleted, what can't be deleted, and all of that. The general rule of thumb is this: anything that's on a city page, City of Reynoldsburg Facebook page, because that's the government organization. All of that stuff is public record. Pages that are on either elected or officials that are in office currently, or people who are running for office, those don't have the same level of scrutiny on it. That being said, sometimes people don't always say, the accurate things on those pages. So I would always verify if you see something on any of those pages about whether or not it is or is actually accurate. One rule of thumb, and I am going to age myself considerably because I have no idea how many people are aware of this, but there was a guy when we were moving from place to place when I was growing up, and radio was the only medium. We had to actually sit and listen to the radio, and sometimes it wouldn't always come in. But there was always a story that would come on by a guy named Paul Harvey. I think only one person in this room has done it, and most of them are now going to get fired. Paul Harvey would tell a story, and it would always be something unique, and it would be starting with something that probably people knew about, and then it would go into the details and talk about the backstory about how whatever it was came up. And his always tagline at the end was, and that's the rest of the story. And it was one of those things where everybody afterward go, oh, now I understand why this is going on. And the reason why I kind of went into this thing is, especially during election season, and especially during things going on at the state and the national level, things going on at the local level, everybody is really quick to judge what is and is not factually accurate. And what I would advise people to do is to actually take more than 10 seconds to look at a headline, to take more than just to look at a quote on a Facebook page or something like that, and actually hear what the rest of the story is. My experience as a teacher, and certainly my experience as a mayor, has said that there are probably nuggets of truth to a lot of sides of the story, but until you have the entire picture, it is not a good practice to overreact to statements that are made on either case. And those are things that are good advice for life in general, because always it seems to be there's more to the story. So with that, I do want to remind you that next week on Tuesday is an election day. Local elections matter, whether it's for city council, whether it's for auditor, whether it's for township trustees, either in Etna Township or Truro Township, whether it is especially for our school district. These are the decisions that we make, and while some people may not think that they're that important or their vote might not make a difference, the reality is we've had 4 recounts since 2015 of elections where people have won races by as little as 2 votes, 1 vote. So please go out and vote. They are important. There's plenty of resources out there to see what candidates' kind of ideas or visions for things you most align with. So take a look at those things. Give yourself 10 minutes. That's probably all you're going to need to do to kind of read through some of those things, or reach out to the candidates themselves on things and ask them what your concerns are. I'm not up for election this year. However, I do want to make sure that people vote, because I believe it is important not only to do it in presidential years, but in also these local elections. One thing that the students from French run, which by the way, they were awesome and had great questions and were so well behaved. So thank you for being the wonderful Firebirds that you are. They asked, why do you do what you do? What is this? It's because this public service is important, and because we have the opportunity as elected officials and people that work with the city or the school district to make everybody's life a little bit better. So when we ask you to go vote for individuals or go and vote for particular things, it's because we want to make things a better place for everyone. I know it doesn't always seem like that. I know there's a lot of versions of people that think it's all about themselves or me or something like that, or party affiliation and whatnot. But the reality is most of the people that are running for office are doing because they do want to find ways to serve their community. So I thank them for that. And for those of that are listening, it's almost over, and they can take a deep breath after that. For everybody else, we are going to kick life off right after the election on Wednesday next week, and we're going to start it off with the Reynoldsburg robotics team. So they're going to come in here, and we're going to talk about it. And we also have a guest from the Epilepsy Foundation as well. So we've got a lot of cool things going on. Trick-or-treat's going on tomorrow night. Be safe. Make sure that you keep an eye on the kids in the crosswalks. And if you're driving, don't speed. It's not worth it. If you hit something, that will make your life significantly more miserable than if you're a minute or 2 late to wherever you're trying to go. So please be safe. Please be courteous out there with everything. Any questions, comments, anything like that? All right, everybody. Again, shout out to Nate Overmire for having an incredibly good sense of humor, especially with a brain jar and a brain in a jar here all the way across. I do appreciate you all listening to me. With their ears? No, nothing. Too late. Sorry. Gotta listen. Ears. There, my ear.
Sorry.
On cue. All right, so we tried. Appreciate everybody listening to me. Stay safe, stay respectful, and as always, please put your shopping carts away. Have a great day, everybody, and happy Halloween.